This is, yeah, you're going to mansplay. I feel like I want to mansplay for most of this chat. It's just more comfortable. It's because it's got long legs.
And low seats.
And really low seats, so it's exactly, yeah, it's the way it is. This is good, Matt. I like this in here. Sitting amongst your race cars with a cup of tea. Admiring...
I just come sit out here normally.
Do you?
Yeah, no.
You're in there in the warm bit.
Too right.
Just looking at your stats.
I didn't know you could write Egyptian.
Yeah. It's... My writing's got...
amazing, isn't it?
It's got progressively worse.
Or is it Latin?
I still like writing stuff down. You know,
I've got books, A4 books, and everything I do every day, I note it and date it and number the pages. So I've got stacks of them, and then it's my reference guide.
What, like to-do lists and stuff, or just
to-do lists. If I'm on the phone to anybody,
yeah,
an engineer or whatever, and then because you do your reports at the end of a race meeting, but just anything in life, I just write it down, and then it's your reference book to go back to.
So you've got boxes of them.
Like that, exactly like that, but I've run A4 size.
How did you become enthusiastic about vehicles?
My dad obviously raced. The only memory I have of him racing, because he was sort of retired, I have two memories of him racing. He'd had a big accident at Nürburgring in European touring cars, and these blokes, and smashed all his face up and his patches over his eyes and everything. And I remember some blokes bringing him home, prop him against the front door, and my mum getting him up and lying on his bed, and he was just lying on his bed like this. And I stood at the bottom of his bed watching him and not going, that's my dad, sort of thing.
When you were like 2 years old?
Yeah, so that'd have been in the 60s. I think it was 1976 Grand Prix at Brands Hatch.
Yeah.
And there was a celebrity race in Mk1 Escorts.
Yeah, I've seen the old video footage of those.
He was sort of running about top 6 and then got spun out coming out of Druids. So, and we were in the grandstand just with all the other people. And my mum stood up screaming. Me and my sister are just trying to disappear because my mum's so embarrassing. Those are the only two memories I've got of my dad driving. But he obviously got me into, he had a passion for cars. We didn't get into karting like they are nowadays or even have been.
Yeah.
So he bought me this little, I've got a picture of it somewhere, Avec cowboy hat.
I was going to say you're wearing a cowboy hat,
which you drive around the paddock.
Yeah.
And I just went round and round and round from dawn till dusk.
Does that have an engine?
Yeah, I think it was about 2 horsepower or something.
Oh, it's just
that was fast as hell, mate.
Stunning photo, 1973.
We went to the odd Grand Prix.
Yeah.
And we went because it's when we were small enough we could fit in the boot, so we didn't have to pay. So me and my mate used to go in the boot of the car. Yeah, he used to lock it down. And I can remember queuing up for the autographs. So I had a real hunger for it. I was up there looking at the fence, queuing up for the autographs, and I so much wanted to be it and to get it and to do it. Yeah. And how? And it was just completely inaccessible to me because my dad didn't have all the contacts that we've got now. Because he'd retired and gone out the business. Yeah. When my boys, they've grown up in it. It's almost a pain. They've got to go to a race meeting, and so they were there in the middle. They were there where the heart beats of it all. So yeah, I can see why the difference is. I mean, they've got a passion for it now. Yeah. Which is great to share that with them. When I was 17, we drove to Donington, me and a mate, paid our way in, because we heard the Renault 5 turbos were racing that day. Yeah. And we just wanted to go and look at them, and touring cars were racing that day. But when we looked at the touring cars, we went, oh yeah, that's great. We'll watch that. Oh, just these Renault 5 turbos, if I could just one day drive one of those, I'll be arrived. So I never thought I'd get to touring cars. Okay. Let alone drive one, let alone win in one. Because my dad was developing the wheel business, he had a 6-wheel Jaguar XJS built.
Did he?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. I've seen pictures of those.
This went round Europe, and it was mega. It was spun the wheels everywhere. It was big side pipes.
Of course, yeah.
Because my sister burnt her leg getting out of it one day because he took us to the bus. We had to get the bus to school, so he took us to the bus in this thing, which everyone thought was amazing.
But that was the coolest.
Oh yeah, my first car. I was lucky. My dad got me a car. It was a 950 Ford Popular Plus. Oh. Maroon. Yeah. So I had that for about a year, and that was great. It was fast, it's fast.
Yeah.
To me it was. That's my one and only picture I've got of it.
You've put some rims on it though, Matt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got to do that. You've got to put alloys on it.
Yeah.
Then I saved up, because I was working from 17. I didn't do A-levels or go to uni or anything. And I bought a Mk1 XR2.
Did you?
Yeah. But again, silver, I put red wheels on it.
Okay.
Red alloys on it, just spam it up a bit.
Yeah, yeah.
And then after that, I got a Golf GTi,
Wow.
Mark II.
Mark II?
Yeah. Then the Astra GTE was coming out, the 16 valve one.
Now you're talking.
Which, too much power, no grip,
Yes.
no handling.
Yes.
'Cause it was on bicycle tyres. So what I did is I got some big fat alloys and an angle grinder and I ground all the arches out at the back.
Did you?
Yeah, yeah. So I could fit these great big wheels and tyres on it. Then I got probably the best car and the one I should never have sold, which was a Ravaglia limited edition, which I saved up and bought. Wish I'd kept that.
What year was that you bought that?
91.
Okay, so is that new?
No.
But
I
nearly
bought it 12
new.
months old, but I got a real good deal on it.
That's a hell of a rare bird though back then.
Sold it for $9,000.
9 grand. What's that now? 80.
80.
It's about 80.
Hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it?
You haven't had it. I mean, you've had performance cars so far, apart from the first Fiesta, XR2, GTI
No,
Golf.
before that, okay, after the Astra, I had a Renault Espace for about a year. you want to go to the extremes, and it wasn't even the V6 one or anything like that. It was the proper poxy one.
Was it the first generation?
Yeah, the real horrible looking thing.
With the composite panels.
Yeah, good bus for your mates.
It's a bit Harold Shipman though.
See, what I always
What's the
wanted when I
problem?
was a kid was a hearse.
Yeah.
I really wanted a hearse.
I wanted a hearse.
And I wanted to knock the back out, put benches in the back so all the lads could get in, and then we'd go cruising in it.
It's funny, isn't it? I've always fancied a hearse, and it's the one car that my wife totally draws the line at. It's never going to be on the drive. We're never going to travel in it. Maybe we need to scratch that itch. I feel, Matt. A hearse.
Itch that scratch.
Itch that scratch that itch. Yeah, exactly. Motocross. I know you did a bit of motocross in your time as well.
I got to the top level in AMCA, which is the amateur level.
Yeah.
And at the top level, I wasn't good enough.
Okay.
I was brave enough, so I could hang on to the real quick boys for a bit.
Yeah.
And then I'd have an almighty accident.
Okay.
And that's why my dad eventually got me into a car, just to get me away from the bikes. Yeah, I'd had a couple of big ones. Because as soon as I was still on walking sticks and I got on this bike and went off a big tabletop jump, looped it, landed on my arse and compressed my back. My heart wasn't in it, and my dad's business went bust on my 18th birthday.
Really?
So he was driving around in old cars and everything, and he was remortgaged the house and everything, which then became Rimstock, and we started Rimstock when I was 18, 11 of us, my dad at the helm. And so it was frugal in those days. We were making 60, 70 wheels a week. That was it.
Wow.
All by hand. So you were painting them, machining them.
Really? So you were actually on the machines doing it?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know that.
And then I go and race at weekends. Bought this old Mark II Fiesta challenge car. Some kids come straight in with a big load of cash. We didn't. We couldn't. We were just going to go and we weren't going to race. We were just going to go and go out. And I remember going to Silverstone in it. Never been around Silverstone, never seen a racetrack on the track.
Yeah.
And my dad had dug out the loft his old BMC two-piece single layer Nomex overalls and winkle picker shoes, which obviously I'm a few inches taller than my dad, so really ill-fitting. Yeah. I get in there and just completely have no idea. Everyone's banging hell out of each other. I find myself in the lead on my first ever race, and looking back, and there's 30 Fiestas all, your foot buried to the floor.
Absolutely.
Suddenly the nerves kick in, don't they? So we get halfway down the straight, my right leg starts to quiver and shake. And it starts going so bad, I take my hand off the steering wheel and put it on my leg to stop it shaking. And my foot comes off the accelerator. And I go from first to 10th place. I did catch up and got into the top 5.
Yeah, yeah. It's that feeling of being chased by a massive pack of...
Yeah, but people know I've had a good, close relationship with my dad over in the racing and work over the years. And the first time I saw my dad going past the pit wall was him leaning over, shaking his fist at me, because he could hear it on the tannoy what was going on, couldn't he? So, yeah.
Because
he's shaken his fist
got
a
the
few more
shakes.
times since then.
Bloody hell.
I've never made that mistake again, though. That was the one and only time.
Wow.
That is a picture of my dad and John Rhodes back in the 60s. So those are the overalls I wore in my first outing. He's still got them somewhere.
Well, they're fit for Goodwood Revival now, I suppose.
No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't be.
What? Because they're inflammable.
Yes, probably they're made of rice paper.
So your dad's weapon of choice was the Mini, often.
Yeah. He was known for the minis. He did a few things, but he was known for the minis. You had production championship saloon cars, which was Group N. So I got in an M3, and we reshelled it into a motorsport shell.
Okay.
And that suddenly it was a lightweight car. And that was fast, and we won the championship in it. So I went up to the Skyline, and again won in Class A, which was good.
Yeah.
And that's when I sort of had my first toe in the water, dipped into BTC, really.
Wow. I'm also digging the cars in the background, which also date it. You know, the people's cars. You've got a Honda CRX behind. A very
Oh,
early...
right, I got done for speeding in that.
Was it yours?
Yeah. I forgot about that one. It was like a roller skate, but I was on the way back from my girlfriend's house, and it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and the roads were empty.
Yeah.
And I got, what did I get done for? I lost my license because I was doing 90 in a 30.
In the Honda CRX?
Yeah, but it was a dual carriageway. It was okay. It was a 30 mile an hour, but I didn't realise the police were even chasing me. I stopped at the traffic lights because it was going, and suddenly this police car arrives, like Starsky and Hutch behind me, all locked up. I'm jumping out of the car. I'm going, what's the problem?
I'll tell you the problem.
Physically pulling me out of the car. I'm going, well, what have I done wrong? I didn't realize.
Wow.
The E30 M3, my first full season, 92.
What a car. Please tell me that you've got some of these 90s race jackets stuffed away somewhere.
I think my dad has.
Oh, just brilliant.
The same car, but that was at Knockhill when I had a big run-in with Colin McRae, and that all kicked off, yeah.
So, I mean, it is mad that you've been racing in BTCC for 30 years. I mean, like, mad amount of racing. In 2000, you're the first independent to get a win in the modern era.
People don't appreciate now how downtrodden privateers or independents were then. You weren't allowed the same tyres, engines, everything.
Really?
No.
Okay, so...
And all the trick Michelins would be there, or Dunlops, and yours would be here.
Right.
And they go, oh, can I have some of them? I'll pay for them, no problem. Yep, no, these are yours. And they'd just be 2 seconds a lap slower. Bolt on. The first race, the race we won, was the first race we ever did with the same tyres as the factory cars.
Was it?
And
you were the first independent racer to win a race in the modern touring car era.
Yeah.
That was the.
So I woke up the next morning, and I actually went, "What now? You know, what now? You know, I was felt so deflated.
Really?
Forget the money. I felt really deflated, and I went into the office, and Tatey was on the phone to Australian radio stations and blah blah blah, and you just suddenly got to pick yourself up, and you go, right, and it was the same when you win your first championship. You go, right, what
is that because of the what now thing?
This is why you see people burst into tears.
Yeah.
Because you just release
Yeah.
all that, you hide it away.
Really, so you don't actually ever...
You never enjoy it because you're worried about the next thing and the whole thing around it. And then, yeah, that's why the likes of Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel are impressive. Okay, they're earning squillions of quid out of it, which is a slight help. But to keep that motivation and focus, when he's already got more money than he'll ever need for the rest of his life, to keep that motivation and focus that's pretty impressive.
That's the bit that I can't quite get my head around, because I would keep questioning, why am I doing it still when I've ticked all these things off the list? Why am I still going? But
he obviously wants to do it for, to become the greatest of all time, which is in his reach now. For me, I sort of changed because I've done it so long, and it's almost like growing up. When Christmas suddenly becomes about giving, you get more from giving than you do from receiving.
Yeah.
And for me these days, if when Flash was with us and now with Dan, if we can get him to win a championship or win races, and it's all about the bigger picture, and doing it as a team and everything. That's the reward I get now, more than standing on the top of the podium is fantastic. Don't get me wrong. But
because you've been a part of helping them to get there. Yeah.
I'm massively superstitious.
Are you?
I just drive myself nuts. Yeah, I'll have a good result in one, and I mark them all. So I know if there's a critical race, I will put that suit on.
Will you?
Yeah, 100%. Boots.
Are you superstitious? So it's not just racing; it's like life.
Yeah.
Really?
I don't like to walk on cracks on the pavement. Say get in the race car, I have to get in a certain way, in a certain order, do my belts up a certain way. Okay. I eat a certain way in a certain, time of the morning. It's a habit thing.
And this is every day or race days?
Mainly race days.
Okay.
If there's something important. I had a big accident in '94 in the Mazda.
You did? I was watching it last night.
Okay, the race before that was Snetterton. I always remember it vividly because it was the same weekend Senna was killed. And it wasn't a good weekend. Anyway, I rolled the car into the field, and I'm stuck upside down in the car, which is quite scary because all the fuel pumps going, and because the furrows of where they plough the field, you can't open the doors. So you just got to let yourself out and sit on the roof inside, waiting for people to come and get you out while the thing can go up. Yeah. Anyway, they took me back to the med centre, and I had a pair of lucky underpants. My sister had given me 10 years prior when I was a teenager or whatever. And they were flesh-coloured boxers with women's underwear on, printed onto them. These have become my lucky underpants.
Hang on, just go back. They're flesh-coloured with women's underwear printed on them.
Printed onto them.
Okay.
Right, but better still, they were a bit threadbare because I'd used them so much. So, all the bottom was hanging out of them. Right, so I'm in the med centre and they go, right, just strip off, take your blood pressure, blah, 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 check all your limbs and everything. Yeah. And there was all these pretty nurses around. I'm in the early 20s or whatever. And they said, right, strip off his thing. I went, no, I don't think you need to go any further. And I had to go into this whole explanation why they couldn't go further, which they had a good chuckle about, and then they laughed and let me off. So then 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later, I had the massive accident at Silverstone when I barrel rolled the Mazda.
Yeah, it's a hell of a crash.
And I'm still wearing these pants. They'd obviously been off and washed in the meantime. And I got these, after the meeting, I got these pants, I threw them away. But then, with my superstitious head or my thing, I think, well, that's the biggest accident in my life, and I did walk away from it.
Did you go fish the pants back out?
No, I didn't. I left them. I found a new lucky set of pants.
I just didn't think I'd be talking
I'm on to Mark 5 or 6 since then.
Threadbare pants today.
Yeah.
That's just brilliant. I wanted to talk to you about Max Power because your name appeared on my radar. It would have been in the sort of mid to late 90s with the Primera. The touring cars of that era dictated the style that we were trying to imitate with the road cars. We wanted the single wiper. We wanted the wheels tucked right up in the arches with a little bit of negative camber. Were they good days? I mean,
they were very good days. I mean, you look back at them, you don't appreciate them when you're in them. You just ride the wave.
Yeah.
But we raced hard and man, we partied hard, and you know that it was some of the stuff we got up to was just mental. That epitomises the Max Power days, which you'll relate to.
Oh my word!
But that's what it was about.
So
crowds, girls messing about, arsing about.
Girls in swimwear on the roof of your car.
That was just like a
host pipe and a bucket of soapy water.
A weekly event, wasn't it? That was just what went on.
I like the fact that there's all the blokes and they're just stood there with their arms crossed like that. Yeah, brilliant. Soapy bucket of water. Matt Neal's touring car. 2 ladies with a hose pipe. Different times, Matt.
Good times. That's the money-winning car.
That's the car.
That's the money shot.
Yeah, it was the stunts of it, the white wheels, the negative camber, splitter practically dragging on the floor. What a thing! You single-handedly made Nissans look cool.
That was me with my 2 sons. I can't remember what year was that. 95.
Wow. Gosh, look at that with the Mondeo. That's a really very 90s but very cool photo. I love that. The Mondeo looks good.
It was in its day.
Because you raced a Gear and an SI, is that right? A Gear in 95, that'd be the Gear.
Yeah.
And the SI in 96.
Yeah, the SI was horrible.
Was it?
Oh, yeah, that was a horror story. That is the worst car of my life.
Was that Mondeo of 96?
That was pretty horrific. I mean, you'd be doing 150 mile an hour around Thruxton, and all it wanted to do was turn sharp left or sharp right while you're trying to keep it in a straight line.
My word.
It was a horror story. then at the end of the year, I got out and I kissed the floor and I said, I've never got to get back in that. Thank God I've made it through the year. And my dad goes, no, I think if we do something, we can get it going better. I went,
not a flipping chance. Really, was that bad?
Yeah. One more picture. That was my first, my teammate, I had to go at NASCAR oval racing. My teammate was Jason Plato.
What year was that?
2001.
Right, let's go for a walk. This is the workshop where the touring cars are put together and maintained. So this is this season's car?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
So which you can see they're modular, so it's got no front end on it. There's literally 6 14mm bolts hold the whole front end on, which is the engine's located in there.
That is the front end?
Yeah. The first time we tested the thing, we were at Rockingham, and I was not happy with this at all.
Because
I thought the front was going to fall off, but it's incredibly strong.
So that's the front, that's the engine that goes in there, that goes on there.
So you just got mainly the central tub, which is where the driver sits.
Yeah. So this is 2020.
Yep.
2021 cars.
2021, we've got, we're moving into hybrid soon, so which is great. I mean, we're all worried about cost, but we've got to go. You've got to embrace it, haven't you? It's coming.
Yeah.
So
you're looking forward to this hybrid era?
Yeah, I am now.
To see
embrace it.
How it's
something, because you've got to use this a bit more.
Yeah.
How you deploy it, where you deploy it.
Yeah. Where's it all going to go? Where's it all? Where's
most
the battery?
of it will go. It'll go. The cooling will go at the front.
Yeah.
Which they hope will stop us driving into each other, but that's a bone of contention. The rest of it will go in the cockpit with the driver.
I do love a build. Look at the cage on it. The cage is beautiful. So this is your sort of been handed down to your son Henry now, isn't it? Are you managing your exit, or are you just bringing him up? I'd love
him to do it, and his brother Will as well. But they're really good. They're good lads. So he's been going well. He's won the championship.
Yeah.
2 years on the bounce. So it's what we can do with them. And I always said, I know you're an electric fan. My thing about electric cars is when I've driven them, I always say they've got no soul. But did they say that about these when we were getting rid of horse and carts?
Or steam.
Yeah.
Went from steam to
Yeah. So it's.
You got to give it soul.
You've got to give it soul.
Yeah. Just a collection of coolers. It's nice.
Yeah, they get a bit of a hard life.
I bet they blimmin' do. They do in touring car. Yeah. Front ends.
That's rear end.
Oh, that's rear.
Yeah, that's a bolt-in that clips up inside.
Ah, okay, it's beautiful.
The way you work it is you can manipulate.
Yeah, of course.
But we've all got the same box of kit.
Yeah.
Which works for close racing. If you built a car, got onto the BTC grid, there's no reason why you cannot win. You've got the same tyre, same power. It's down to you, down to the people spannering the car there, and how you
those
make
little
it.
adjustments. I like that.
And a bit of luck.
Of course.
Great believer in
luck. Not that you're superstitious or anything. Exactly. Next room. It's not often that you get to see an old piano on its back next to.
I can't remember what spec it is actually.
That is absolutely stunning. Goodness me. Is it yours?
No, unfortunately.
That is
only 8 ever built. Apparently, which 5 are still owned by Porsche, 3 are in private hands. This is one of the 3.
There is some serious weave going on here. Serious weave. Okay, so this isn't yours. We won't dwell on it. It's lovely, but it's not yours. Is this yours?
Well, it could be. That's my dad's.
It could be.
Yeah, it's one of my dad's.
I remember.
Which was the first V10 M6.
I was just about to say, I remember the launch of this car. I remember testing it.
Gearboxes were a bit clunky in them.
They were.
I keep on telling him to sell it, but he won't sell it.
Yeah?
I'm a bit more ruthless.
Are you?
Yeah, on cars and.
You're not ruthless with trophies, for crying in a bucket. Look, I've just noticed that the whole side of the building is trophies.
We've got a container with them in that there as well.
Have you?
Well, as you say, 160 podiums.
Where do you put it all?
Yeah.
Now look, this is my favourite shape of Civic.
Really?
Yeah, really. Is it not for you?
Well, I had some good success in it, but.
I see it.
No. Probably not.
I think it's aged the best out of all of them. This looks like it's had an incredibly hard life.
It has. This actually wasn't a race car, it was a race replica, which we used to use for demo events.
I noticed something not Honda on the wall. There is something Honda on the wall.
Yes.
But there's also something non-Honda on the wall.
Yeah, that's how we get an FK8, which is the modern Type R
that's it.
shell. That would be its starting point. Below that is We build historic Lotus Cortinas for the racing. We bought it and stripped it and put it on the shelf, ready to go in the fab bay.
And that is a non-Lotus, that's just a two-door
Correct,
Cortina
but we'll
sheet.
make the modifying, we'll modify the shell.
So from the early Mini to the latest NSX, which I know is yours.
Do I sell it or do I keep it? I mean, you've driven one. They are an amazing, amazing piece of kit.
They are, they're really impressive.
Almost, I think, very underrated. You know, I've had Porsches, I've had Ferraris.
Have you?
Yeah.
You didn't tell me that.
Oh, I forgot, didn't I?
You really can't just forget about having Ferraris, surely. What Porsches and Ferraris have you had?
I had a 996 turbo.
Did you?
Which was ridiculously fast as well.
I bet it was.
And I had a 550 Maranello Ferrari.
Did you? Okay, that
Front engine.
Yeah. But how often do you see an NSX of any type on the road?
No, you don't.
It's not so often, is it? They don't really shout about themselves enough, NSXs, I don't think.
Don't you think that's Honda's problem altogether?
Completely.
They've got some amazing products and amazing achievements, and even the Marquez's and all that. And they don't shout loud enough.
No, they don't shout loud enough.
And now they've got an amazing engine in F1. They always say Honda's the best kept secret. They're best keeping their own secrets.
Yeah, completely. I hope you've enjoyed this episode with Matt. Matt, thanks for showing us around your workshop / garage / office. I don't know, it's a bit of everything, isn't it? If you want more episodes like this, let me know in the comments. And if you're a subscriber already, brilliant, thank you. There is a Patreon link in the description. If you're a supporter of this channel via Patreon, thank you so much, it means a lot. There will be more Chat with the Chairs soon. Goodbye.
And they just took the piss. They'd literally rattle down the inside of you because they had so much more performance and grip, and it just got tiresome. Do you know what I mean? And literally, I can remember on the limit into Goodwood.
You just turned the clock back on him 20 years.
Yeah.